and welcome to the Artfid19 channel, where I'll be showing you simple and easy ways to make art, and hopefully you'll be less bored in isolation and gain some skills and something out of it that you can be proud of. See, art is a very mindful process that is almost instinctual and can help us understand our surroundings better. And in these uncertain times, it can be an escape, something to focus on and lose yourself in for short or long periods of time. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to draw a regular eye. I've got my reference photo here because it's always a good idea to use a reference photo. Because if you're drawing from memory, then sometimes, it will just turn out bad and not be realistic. I've just took a photo of my own eye. Obviously, when you're doing it and practicing, you can use any eye that you want, but I just didn't want any copyright infringement or anything, so I'm just going to use this. As you can see, just a regular eye to try and get the most realistic effect. So I'm going to start out by planning how big the eye is actually going to be. Obviously, when you're doing a whole face, it's got to be in proportion with the rest of the body, but this tutorial is just on a simple eye, so I'm probably going to make it around this big. And by the way, I'm just using this 2B pencil. I personally think it's the best for sketching, but honestly it depends what you're going to use. And side note, if you're looking to colour this in, today I'm just going to be doing this with monochrome, just a simple technique. But if you're doing, if you're using coloured pencil, like for instance, don't know where they've gone. If you're using coloured pencil for instance, then it's better to use the lightest possible pencil that you can get, because they do not mix very well with dark shades. It's better to just rub out your sketch to the tiniest degree so you can see the basics of the outline and it won't mess with the colours to make it all grey. Anyway, so let's start with the basic shape of the eye. It's easiest to just mimic as you go. You can see where the bottom of the eye goes up and then curls down into this wider shape. Obviously everyone's eyes are a different shape, but I'm just going off this one photo. It goes up here at the top. Don't need to get anything perfect at the start, just some guidelines. And you can see that clear, defined, rounded edge, where the edge of the eye is. And here's going to be the lash line. Let me just check that camera. So as I was saying, you've got to get that defined red bit on the edge of the eye. So it goes like that, just down. Why did I draw this so high up the page? You've got that top of the eyelid, which goes from about here. It's quite high above. I think sometimes rookies can make a mistake of having it a little bit too close to the eye, when actually a lot of it's quite spaced out. And I've cut it off here, but the eyebrow is actually just up here, so it's quite higher than sort of what you'd picture if you'd just try to do it without a reference photo. And here it splits off into two parts. Obviously that's going to be quite a clear line, but this is just a sketchy outline. Okay, and sort of add this first stage you just got to sort of add in anything that might be useful. Some extra lines here, and this bit just comes to a straight point. Another tip is just to keep looking at eyes. If eyes is something you're interested in drawing, then you just got to learn to look, maybe not stare deep into everyone's eyes, but when you see people, just notice the shape of the eye and how it forms. Because once you've drawn them a lot, you kind of get to know the shape easily, so you can draw it kind of freehand. And with that eye, what's it called? The iris? Might be wrong. You can see that sometimes it's sort of smaller but in this instance, a lot of it, the top part and the bottom part, is cut off. Another tip is that, depending on what eye it is, this was my left eye, kind of move, you can kind of see that you've got a greater bit of white here, so maybe just to make sure that people can distinguish what eye it is, because sometimes it's a little bit hard, use the iris, move it closer to here, so you can kind of tell what side, you can tell what eye it is. We're just going to go ahead and mimic that around here. Just had some technical difficulties, but we're going to get back to it. So the iris, try to make it just sort of a rounded circle shape, not too narrow. Obviously when you go back to it afterwards, you can see anything that you might want to rub out or change. A tip that I always use is to hold up the picture into the mirror so you can see what it looks like backwards, and that usually helps to distinguish any kind of where's my rubber? Any kind of out of proportion elements of your drawings. Getting the pupil, just try and make it centre. If you want to go all out on this, you can obviously use a ruler and find the middle part, kind of like that. In different lightings, the pupil's going to be different sizes, but if you want to do just a general one, you can do sort of like that. And then add in the little light element. Obviously we're not going to go full detail today, but if you just do, what I like to do is just not do it fully, and then just do a little circle joining to the iris, and then I'll just shade that in just to let us know what part it is. So as you can see on my eye, there's a little bit of a dark bit around here. I'm sorry, I just don't know any of the technical names for an eye, but you've got this kind of dark area. And just as an extra tip also, people might think that the edge of the eye is actually straight, but if you look closely on it, it's a little bit blurred, so it's not like fully sharp, if you get what I mean. So you might want to just add in a little sort of blurry bit around the edge. I often find that the top of the eye can be a little bit darker than the bottom, because it's obviously shadowed by the top thing, and as you can see here, you've got a little shadow coming from the eyelid, so you might want to add that in. Again, make sure these edges of the bottom eyelid are really defined, because that's how you're going to distinguish it from, especially if you're shading your finger to smudge or whatever you want really, tortillon or similar device. Make it just that little bit blurrier. Again, just follow, just whatever you think is weird, just do it. If you see lots of lines in the eye, just do lots of lines, you know? If you can see the eyelashes reflected in the light spot, then do the eyelashes reflected in the light spot, you know? Because usually, most of the time, funny enough, what you see is what you get, you know? What you see in real life is, it's just about observing what you can see and then replicating it in the best way that you know how. Usually, coming out of the iris is a little dark splodge, so you can add that in some. You can make the iris as detailed or as simple as you want, but this is just the way I'm doing it. That the eyelid is obviously curved, so you're going to have the lighter bit in the middle and the darker bits at the top. So just curve that in the way that the eyeball curves. You really want to define those darks and make those whites whiter, as they would say in laundry thing adverts, because you really want to make them stand out, because as you can see, like in this photo, the darks are dark, the whites are bright. We don't want any kind of misconceptions when looking at it. You can, for darks, you can use higher grade pencils. So say a 4B here is going to be darker than a 2B, and a 5B is going to be darker than a 4B, etc. Maybe I'll use a 5B actually, yeah. We're going to get really dark, really defining those edges, making sure the whites are white and in contrast, because that is a reflection from whatever light source you're getting in the eye. Honestly, eyes are just random, so probably whatever pattern you do will look semi-realistic. Tip with the actual colours of the eye, if you are looking to colour it in or paint the eye, the actual the white of the eyeball isn't actually white. I know. It's usually a mix of like blue and yellow, sometimes even like those greyer tones, so just an extra tip there. So you can see here they swoop out. In the inner, with the inner eyelashes, they're more straight and they get more curved as they go out. Don't ask me why, probably something to do with evolution or some kind of mechanism. But I'm going to start with the bottom eyelids. Why do I keep saying that? Eyelashes. So just be quick and confident. Again, they don't start straight away in the eye, they kind of start around this curved point here. So just be quick and do, again, what you see on the photo. Obviously I haven't done any of the skin, I've just done the main part of the eye, but if you were to do it, you'd obviously have to shade most of it in. And the bit around the that bit is lighter. It sort of has like an oily sheen to it that a lot of people use. Make sure you see some of those eyes coming in, as they usually distract that part of the eye. It's not usually very clean. There's usually a little bit of eyelash darts you can see happening. Yeah. Add in any sort of white parts you can see and just shading around them just to show that they're lighter. I'm just going to get a little opinion from my camera to see what this actually looks like, see if I need to change anything. It's always best to maybe take a picture of it first to get like a different perspective, because you've been looking at this drawing for ages, so you want to know whether it looks as realistic as you can get it. It's a very Mark Crilley eye, isn't it? I used to watch a lot of him back in the day. Here is the eye, the complete eye. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you learned something. Keep on practicing, keep on defining, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!